So tell me, what is it you desire? To go a little Lucifer on you. Yeah, 3,000 Years of Longing. This was an interesting movie. Yeah, I mean, the movie is what you think it is. I mean, the movie is at least bare bones what it is giving you in the trailer. A woman who is a God. 1 second here. This bullshit. This I still call bullshit on this, but apparently it's a real thing. I was a narratologist. I think that's what it's called. She. Hold on. Production. Scholar. A scholar content with her life. She's a scholar, but she actually has there's a name for her profession. It's like narration and like ology. So it's like narratologist, studying of stories and like their history and their passing down, stuff like that. So yeah, okay, sure. And apparently we looked it up after the fact. It is a real thing. Okay. But yeah, she finds this bottle in a shop and opens up and reveals a jinn, who is, Idris Elba. And he gives the whole spiel. I'll give you 3 wishes from your heart's desire, and it's the story from there. But it's not exact. And we learn about his past and where he came from, and ultimately where him and Tilda Swinton's relationship ultimately goes. And it's, in that sense, it is what you think, but it's really not. The trailer does not do a good job at selling you what the movie is actually like really about. You see a lot of stuff happening in the trailer. What it is basically is that 3/4 of this film take place in a hotel room. They don't leave the hotel room for about 3/4 of this film. And the reason for that is 3/4 of this film is essentially an anthology film detailing Idris Elba's 3 imprisonments and why he was imprisoned. And thinking, I didn't know how to really feel about that, but it's one of those things where I didn't know how to feel, but I couldn't stop watching the screen. It's a very dialogue-heavy film, and in that regard, you really are kind of sitting on the edge, sitting on every word because you have to, because it's it's a story about storytelling, and it's telling the story. And I will say this: I've seen a lot of people, or I've seen some of the reviews, and it doesn't have a bad score, by the way, from the critics. It's got about 69%, which is more than what it had, so it's actually gone up. 69 is not a bad number, giggity. But I've seen some people say that it's more the last quarter, the last third, the last act of the film, last 20, 30 minutes, that they liked a lot more than, say, the first 2/3 to 3/4 of it. And I'm actually in the camp that preferred the first 2/3, 3/4 of it to the final part of it. Not to say that the last part was bad, but for me, I was really more invested in the storytelling aspect of the movie. Seeing Idris Elba's history, seeing all these amazing things that happened, and all these trials and trials and tribulations, these turmoils he went through, these ups and downs he had to deal with, the relationships he had, his understanding of humanity, and learning more from that, and the mistakes that led him to being imprisoned to begin with. I found that a lot more enjoyable. And then every time we went back to Tilda Swinton and him in the hotel, I thought that like the two of them not butting heads, but challenging each other's ideologies about the whole wish-making process. As we see here in the trailers, like there's no story about wish fulfillment that isn't a cautionary tale. To which me and my girlfriend both said when we got out of the movie, like, Aladdin, and I mean the Disney version of Aladdin. Now, maybe the original Aladdin story isn't as, is a bit more cautionary. But to be fair, that's like, of the Arabian Nights, Aladdin's just one of those stories. Aladdin, like, seriously, everyone gets what they want in that movie. So I'm like, do you not watch Aladdin? Do you not watch, even like live action versions stuff? Do you not watch that? So, yeah, I'm like, I get the impression you don't know what you're talking about. But no, that's not the case. Tilda Swinton, as she says in the trailer, she's just alone. She's content with her life. So she's very hesitant to make wishes because she just doesn't want for anything. And Idris Elba's like, no, everyone wants something. You just have to figure out what it is you want. She keeps being a bit stubborn on it. It's like, no, I don't want anything. It's like, you're sure? I'm kind of sure you do on some level. It's like, but I don't. It's like, yeah, but either way, it's like, it gets, and I'll say that her resistance and stuff like that, after a while gets a little, it's like, okay, look, just figure out something. You didn't even have to make the wish for yourself. Do you desire peace on the planet? Do you desire someone you know to be happy? These are workarounds you can do. And she's just not, she's being she's being overly analytical about it. And I get that is the character, but it does get a little irritating after a while. They also they also do something a little bit different with like the whole, you get 3 wishes. Like, what are the rules? You get 3 wishes. You can't wish for infinite wishes. But they do a few other things as well that are different than, like, say, your standard, like, genie lore. That I'm like, okay, that's different. Cool. Effects-wise, it looks nice. It's very... there we go. So it's like, effects-wise, it looks nice. It looks very, especially the genie effects, the Jinn effects, those look pretty good. Like, there was nothing I ever saw in the film that I'm like, oh god, no, it all looked pretty nice. Both these actors are doing a pretty solid job. This isn't an Oscar-nominated film or anything like that, but they do a pretty solid job. I'll admit, I've heard some people say it's kind of a flat script or a dry script. I'll agree with that. It's not necessarily the dialogue is very smart and there's a lot of wit to it, but it's a bit dry. And the performances that they're being given, particularly the characterization of the Idris Elba, he is very flat. He's very monotone. Not monotone, but he's very just not even deadpan. He's always kind of in this single state of emotion. He's in like this single emotional level where it's like, yes, this is what happened, and don't you know this happened, and this and that and this because of this and this. There's only a couple times where he fluctuates a little bit emotionally, and you understand why it happens. So yeah, there's definitely some jokes in there too that land. There is some questions that just don't get freaking answered. I think there might be some implications given what we understand about Jinn and how they can interact with the world. But based on like what they say in the movie, there is no explanation. There's a plot point about Tilda Swinton's imagination being a little active, like overactive, and her seeing things that may or may not be there. Well, there's another plot point involving Jinn that I'm like, okay, could this might be what they're implying? But they never bring it up, which basically just means, okay, so Tilda Swinton essentially means she has a mental illness or is actually going crazy. So, is that what just happened? There's no explanation on that. And as for the end, the last 20 minutes to 30 minutes of the film, basically the part where she starts making wishes, legitimately. I'm trying to pinpoint what it is about it that I liked. It was a solid, very sweet and touching ending, but didn't gel with me the same way as the first 2/3 to 3/4 did. And I think to me it's the fact that we are seeing all this fantastical, the concept of the storytelling, a story about storytelling and stories and the stories being told. Well, and then we're getting like the story that she's telling essentially, and it's just not as interesting because we basically get an idea of where it's ultimately going to end. Now, that said, they do a couple like fake out endings. Not a couple, but like 1 or 2 fade outs that seem like endings and they're not. And ultimately it ends in a nice way and all that great. But I don't know. Maybe it's because the fantastical is now. They even say there's a line where he talks about all the advancements he's seen, like how the Jinn have just kind of like, we're not relevant anymore, we're not needed anymore, and what that means for him and her and the relationship they have. And I I could kind of see where it was going. I'm seeing some directing bits where I'm like, okay, what's that about? And then I realized, okay, now I see what's happening here. And I don't know. It's not like it didn't land. The ending lands for me, but because of the fact that it is taking its time. This movie is taking its time. It's not a long movie either. It only comes in, I think, about an hour and 50. Not even an hour 48. So it's over an hour and a half, well over an hour and a half, but doesn't even come close to the 2-hour mark. So I think for an hour and 48, it definitely feels its runtime. Like, it doesn't feel long and you're paying attention, but it does feel like it's taking its time. It's pacing itself. And I think that it just, while dealing with all the stories that are going on, I just feel like the end, there needed to be more happening, I suppose. I think that's really what it comes down to, is that when she makes that first wish and we see the results of that wish, it's like, great. Nothing's really happening. This is just like the day in, day out at that point. And then the ramifications of the day in, day out. And I think that I needed maybe something a bit more to be happening. Ultimately, though. But look, that's a mild, not even mild, that's my nitpick with the end. Like I said, they didn't explain her imagination thing. It does take its time a bit. In fact, there are scenes where people are talking another language where you don't understand what they're saying. You can infer, but there's no subtitles sometimes, whereas other times there are. That can be a little whatever, but you can get the gist. The stories are interesting. I can't say that. I can't say they're not, and I admire like what they're trying to do. It's not an overly expensive film by Hollywood standards. I checked. It's made on $60 million, and you want to talk about a film that probably had little marketing to it. At best, you're looking at maybe 20. At best. So you're looking at a film made on 80. That means if this film actually only has to hit about 120 million. That really isn't a lot. The problem is, based on the amount of people that was in the theater with us, I don't even think there was a total of 10 people, including me and my girlfriend, in the theater. So I am not expecting this film to do well, nor make its money back. But I ultimately like the film. If you were interested in it, I would recommend it. It's got a much better review than something like in The Invitation. Last I checked, that's at, I'm going to check that again, see if it's gone down. Last I checked, that was like at 36, 39, something like that. Let's see where it currently sits. The Invitation, because it was either going to be The Invitation or it was going to be this. And I knew my girlfriend didn't want to sit through The Invitation. So, The Invitation's at 30%. Ooh, it's gone down. Great. Whereas 1,000 Years of Longing has hit 70%. So, woohoo. I wish I could be a Rotten Tomatoes critic, but apparently you actually need to be vetted for that. Like, they actually have to reach out to you to be one. But it is what it is. And then, so these next couple of weeks, it's going to be pretty mild on the movie going in terms of what's coming out. We got that Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul movie, which, I don't know about that. I don't know about it. I might just say screw it. And I think what I'm going to do is honestly say screw it, and I'm probably not going to see that. What I'm probably going to do, because we had like 3 wide release films come out this week. And Samaritan, is Samaritan getting anything this week in terms of, like, it says wide for Samaritan, but I didn't see anything. Let me even check Cinemark real quick, see if I'm mistaken, because if for some reason it's both on streaming and in theaters, I might go see Samaritan also. But I don't have, is it Apple, I think? Wow, Paws of Fury still has 1 showtime? Amazing. As far as I can tell, it's actually not getting screens. But, hey, there's 2 Idris Elba movies out. And honestly, both of them are pretty solid. So, it looks like besides Honking for Jesus, Save Your Soul, so I think I'll probably see either Invitation or Breaking next week. And then the following week, Spider-Man No Home's getting a re-release? Oh, God. It's already close to the $2 billion marker. You guys just want to hit that goal, don't you? You just want to hit that goal. I don't blame you. And then after that, I mean, what do we got coming out in September? I know September's got a couple things coming out. Barbarian, which apparently, and Medieval, which I have actually been requested to see. Century Czech icon warlord John Zizikon, who defeated armies of the Teutonic Order and the Holy Roman Empire. I mean, look, I will do my darndest to see it because you asked for it. I make no promises because I don't know if that thing's getting a wide enough release or even be in my theater or probably be able to get a screen for it if it's in my theater. Might have like one showing. So I will try, but I can't make any promises. But yeah, no, we got basically just Hunt for Jesus, Save Your Soul. We got Barbarian, which I've heard good things about, but I'll be honest, I don't normally dig on horror, so I have to be a little pick and choosy. At best, I can see 2 films a week. I might just skip that and see like Breaking or Invitation, which I do want to see Breaking. That looks pretty good. Apparently, Pitch Perfect is getting a re-release. Fathom event. And then, let's see, the following week after that. Is that when Smile comes out? No, it's... Wait, God's Country. Wow, geez, holy crap. A lot of stuff coming out. God's Country, which I'm not familiar with that. Running the Bases, not familiar. Pearl, which is a prequel to X, which I don't give a crap about. I saw the trailer for that. I'm like, ugh. The Woman King, though, that will be what I'm at that week. I want to see The Woman King. That looks really good. And then Smile comes out the next week, the week of the 23rd. So no, maybe I'm wrong here. Really, I could have sworn Smile is coming out sometime in September. All right. Anyway, I digress. I've gone on long enough. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I recommend this. I liked it. If you saw the trailer and you're interested, I do say give it a shot. It's by no means a bad movie. It's got some problems, but nothing terrible. Until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you folks next time. Later.